So this is a nymph that I learned many years ago from reading a book. I don't even remember the book though. But it's called I thought it originally stood for the AP nymph, meaning all-purpose nymph, because it just kind of looks like an all-purpose nymph. But it actually stands for a guy named Andre Puyans. He's the one who developed this pattern. So you can tie it really robust and fat like this one, and really, shaggy so that it looks really fuzzy, so it imitates something like March Brown nymph or something more along that line, or a stonefly. He originally tied it in a dark black color. You can also take it and tie it so it's really skinny like this. It's a good Baetis, good Hendrickson imitation. So, and I'm tying it in a more of a tannish, brown color palette instead of black. Black works super well. You can tie it with a bead if you want. You can tie it on a jig nymph hook, whatever you want. So first thing we're going to do, we'll start with tying in, and I leave a tag in, but I want to tie in at about the 60% of the hook. It's just past halfway to the front. Then I bring my tag in onto the far side and leave it in there. Wrap all the way back to the barb of the hook. And then if you're tying something, imitate, like I said, a Baetis or a real skinny mayfly, or a size 16 or an 18, you don't want a lot of pheasant tail fibers here. If you're doing, this is a 14, so you guys can see it a little bit better, and I want it to be a little bit more robust. So tie in a good 10 or 12 pheasant tail fibers, which is a lot. You would never do a pheasant tail with this many normally. So, and you come up, measure them to be the length of the hook shank, transfer that measurement to right above the barb, switch hands, one pinch wrap, maybe a second, and then you take this and wrap this all the way down to where you tied in the thread. See, I've got 1 or 2 turns of thread left there. Here, I'll do it so you guys can see there's 4 or 5 turns of thread there. One more. There we go. Come back, make sure you've got it wrapped up nice and tight all the way to the barb. There. Then take, if you want to use wire, you don't need the counter rib with the thread. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of wire. It always ends up breaking on me. And I've never found a way to reinforce wire. It just doesn't work. So I use my crystal flash. I like it. It works for me, and the counter rib makes it super durable, way more durable than wire. And if it ever does get nicked by a fish, all that ever really comes out is about 1/4 of a turn. It sticks out if it sticks out less than 1/8 of an inch, I don't even cut it, because I think that kind of looks nice and natural. If it's more than that, then I'll cut it, with my nippers on the stream. Just hit that thread body with a drop of Flex Cement, just so it's a little damp. And we're going to take my homemade dubbing that I know you guys all hear me talk about all the time. Here that is. It's got a nice little sparkle to it. Not a lot of sparkle, but I love it. One of these times I'll teach you guys how I make it. Dub a small little rope on here, not a lot. And if I can, apply it so that is a little damp. It helps the dubbing get adhered. Gives the dubbing something to stick to. Makes the fly even more durable. Not that a nymph really ever fails on you here, but it's a little much. You normally lose a nymph before it runs out of the ability to catch fish. You want to run a nice carrot shape to it like this. Continuous thickness. If you have any of those extra long ones, you can reach in and just give them a little pop. Then we're going to counter rib with the crystal flash. Maybe 3 or 4 turns is all it should take. 3. What I always do is I try to wrap forward 3 or 4 times, pull it back, wrap over that, Now it's not going to get pulled out from under those wraps by anything. Then I take my counter rib, which is just a piece of the thread that I left it tie in. Same thing, I can wrap over it a couple of times, forward, turn around, pull it backwards, wrap back over it. You can just break it off. But now you've got a nice, neat body back here with a, I tied this one a little on the thicker side so it would look a little bit easier for you guys to see. Same thing. Now I always start with my first wrap of dubbing all the way at the forward part of the hook, right behind the eye. I wrap back to my wing case, then I wrap back up to that eye. That way my thread, I run out of dubbing right at the hook eye. It's always my goal. After you do it a while, you'll get the timing and the ratios right to be able to do that. Pull it all forward. Couple of wraps. I come in with my fingernails here. Just push back everything to make sure I've got enough head space, both the wing case and the I try to make sure I spread this wing case out so it looks nice and wide. Couple of wraps. Pull 2 backwards on this side. I get 2 or 3 on that side. That's 2. Do 2 on this side. A couple more wraps. A couple underneath. We can come in and trim this real close. Just a couple of wraps there to clean things up. 3-turn whip finish followed by a 4-turn whip finish. And I needed a 5th one there to get that head covered up well. Normally I don't cut my threads. I tend to slice them when I'm done. I pull the hackles down. Let me do it. And then I can come in right at the hook point and know that I've got a consistent length of leg across all the patterns that I tie. Come in, drop a flexment on top of the wing case and just touch the thread wraps. And there you go. That's the AP Nymph. Got one tail that decided to come in there and go sideways on me. Just go in and cut it out. But it's a super effective little nymph. I really like this color. You guys know I like my gold ribbed hares here as a nymph especially. But you can see there's some reds in there. There's some reds, some purples, some peacocks. I've got all colors, kinds of flash in there, but you'll see all those colors as it goes around. You'll see greens and golds and reds. I've just had tremendous luck with this color. If you can, a second coat of head cement on that wing case will really make it more durable as well. And then if you're like me, you just notice that you got some in the eye, just poke that out with your bodkin real quick. It's a real quick, simple nymph called the AP Nymph or Andre Puyans Nymph.